Maybe you're tired of dreaming, tired of visualizing the ideal life and waking up to the same reality. You try to stay positive, but a quiet doubt starts to creep in. Why doesn't anything change if I'm doing everything right? That question is born from the pain of someone who truly tried. You lit candles, kept gratitude journals, visualized with intensity, and yet you find yourself stuck in the same cycles, as if the ideal life is always one step away. But that step never quite happens, and this creates a kind of spiritual exhaustion, a feeling of failure that few admit, the belief that maybe the problem is within, that maybe your energy isn't enough, that maybe you're broken in a way even the universe can't fix. But what if the problem isn't you? What if what's missing isn't more visualization power, but more integration between what you see and what you vibrate? Because visualization is only the first step, and no step leads anywhere if the whole body doesn't move with it. Bruce Lipton explains, the brain operates largely on autopilot. So when you visualize something new without reprogramming what you're vibrating inside, the mental image has no foundation. It's like painting a beautiful wall over a cracked structure. Joe Vitale adds, you attract what you believe is possible for you, not what you passively wish for. The field doesn't respond to isolated willpower. It responds to the coherence between what you imagine, what you feel, and what you do. Visualizing without integrating is like programming the GPS and never leaving the driveway. Maybe it's time to stop visualizing and start embodying, with coherence, with body, soul, and action aligned with the image you dream of living. Maybe you've found yourself saying, if I just keep visualizing with faith, it will happen. And so you continue. You close your eyes, take a deep breath, feel the emotion. For a few moments, everything feels possible. But then you open your eyes and return to the same life, the same house, the same bills, the same loneliness, and a silent cycle begins. The more you visualize without results, the farther you feel from what you desire. Visualization becomes a crutch, a refuge where everything is beautiful, but nothing becomes real. A place where you feel alive, but only on the inside. This process is subtle, and that's what makes it dangerous. It looks like faith, but many times it's fear. Fear of facing the now. Fear of accepting that something in you is still blocked. So the mind escapes. It creates images, futures, idealized versions of a life that doesn't yet exist. But the quantum field doesn't respond to mental images. It responds to your current vibrational state, to what you embody through your body, through your silent gestures. If your practice has become an escape, the universe doesn't resonate with the image. It resonates with the escape. You can visualize for hours, but if there's no connection with your body, with your breath, with your daily life, it becomes a distant movie. A parallel reality where everything works out, except you. And when this repeats, something in you starts to wither. That's why maybe it's time to return from fantasy to the now, from the mind to the vibration. Visualization is a doorway, but you can only walk through it with your whole being. Emotions aligned, actions in integrity, daily choices that support what you claim to want. That is the key to real manifestation. Have you ever noticed how the mind can build entire worlds? In seconds, it creates perfect images. But while you're visualizing fulfillment, your body might be vibrating fear. And the universe doesn't respond to the clarity of the image, it responds to the truth of your vibration. It's easy to imagine the best. The hard part is sustaining it in the field. The mind paints abundance, but the body tenses. The heart beats with doubt. The breath carries urgency. And that is what the magnetic field registers. Joe Dispenza teaches, the heart is the body's most powerful electromagnetic emitter. Vibration is born from what you feel, not what you think. If there's misalignment between feeling and imagining, manifestation falters. We've learned to think positively, but not to listen to the body. You visualize love, but your chest tightens. You visualize freedom, but your shoulders sink. The quantum field understands sensation, not words. Visualizing without feeling is like installing wires without electricity. The image exists, but the circuit is broken. Manifestation requires coherence between what you see and what you vibrate. Feeling is the root, image is the seed, and without roots, nothing grows. That's why the first step isn't to visualize harder, it's to feel more truthfully. Observe the body while you imagine, not to force positive feelings, but to integrate what's vibrating out of sync. You can dream big, but if you're still anchored to the past, the image won't hold. The universe responds to coherence, to clear vibration, and when body and image align, the field lights up. So next time, start with the body. Breathe. Ask yourself, how am I truly feeling right now? Feel before you visualize, and notice, is your body welcoming or resisting? That practice changes everything, because feeling through the eyes of the soul is what makes the universe understand. There's a kind of sabotage that works in silence. It doesn't show up in the big decisions, but in the small gestures of daily life. You visualize the ideal life, and then behave in ways that quietly cancel it all out. Like trying to tune into a station using the wrong dial, knowing the destination but turning the knob in the opposite direction. You desire abundance, but hold back even in affection. You want love, but avoid vulnerability. These subtle incoherences sabotage your vibration. Because it's not just about thoughts, it's about actions. And the universe responds to vibrational practice, not declared intention. The mental image might be beautiful, but if your behavior isn't aligned, the field won't respond. Bruce Lipton explains, over 90% of what we do comes from the subconscious. You might wish for something new, but still vibrate protection, scarcity, fear. This contradiction creates noise, energetic interference, and the feeling that something is blocking you, when in truth the block lies in the small no's you're still vibrating. Every time you shut down receiving, ignore your intuition, or delay action, your field understands it's not time yet. That's why manifestation requires more than intention. It requires vibrational integrity, presence in your gestures, honesty in your vibration. Maybe your sabotage shows up in how you eat, in the way you speak to yourself, in the relationships you hold on to. Looking at this is not about blame, it's about healing. Because only when you recognize your vibrational no's can you begin to allow a real yes. And that yes doesn't need to be big, but it does need to be consistent, felt, repeated, because that's what reprograms the field. And when image, emotion, and behavior align, manifestation becomes a reflection, not an effort. Visualization doesn't always come from faith. Many times, it comes from escape. And this isn't judgment, it's compassion. It's human to want to flee from pain. When the present feels heavy, the mind seeks refuge in a more beautiful future. And that's when many cling to visualization, as a shelter from a reality they don't know how to face. You close your eyes not to co-create, but to forget. You imagine something new because the now feels unbearable. And without realizing it, you begin to vibrate lack, absence, urgency. The universe doesn't hear words, it feels fields. And if your field vibrates with despair disguised as spirituality, that is what it reflects back. To co-create, you must accept the present. Even if it's uncomfortable, it's the only real point of transformation. What seems wrong is raw material for change. When you reject the now, you don't manifest, you freeze. Bruce Lipton reminds us, the inner environment shapes reality. If you reject what you feel, you reinforce that field. The mind may imagine heaven, but if the heart vibrates with fear of the earth, heaven cannot land. It's hard to face that the body still carries trauma, that the soul is still tired. But healing begins in that honest gaze. Accepting the pain isn't surrender, it's truth, and truth expands the field. When you say, "This hurts, and still I choose to remain present," the vibration shifts. Authenticity replaces denial, and where there is truth, there is living energy. Visualization then stops being an escape and becomes a portal, a mirror of a more integrated vibration. Allow yourself to look at the now with tenderness, without rushing, without painting over it. Breathe, feel, because the now is the divine clay of transformation. It's where everything begins. For a long time, we believed that changing our thoughts was enough to change our lives. But science and experience show that this is only part of the equation. True transformation begins when the body gets involved, when thought becomes sensation, posture, presence. Bruce Lipton reminds us, the environment changes the cell, and you are the environment of your own cells. The body doesn't just respond to mental images, it responds to the vibrational field you sustain, and that field is shaped by what you feel repeatedly. Visualizing for a few minutes is easy. The challenge lies in the other 23 hours, how you wake up, how you breathe, how you react, how you treat yourself. Every automatic gesture either reinforces or rewrites vibrational patterns. Neuroscience tells us the brain learns through repetition with emotion. To create a new reality, imagining it isn't enough. You must feel it with intensity until the body recognizes it as familiar. When the body believes, the field vibrates in coherence, and the universe responds. This process is not instant. The body is a temple that carries deep memory. That's why reprogramming requires patience, love, and consistency, like tending to a garden. Many visualize with intensity yet see no change because the emotion is still anchored in the past. The new image can't take root. Spirituality without the body becomes theory. It needs to be lived, breathed, practiced with presence. A good place to start is by uniting image, emotion, and movement. Visualize your confident self and begin acting like them. Change your posture, your tone, your gestures. Pretend if needed until the body recognizes this new state. This isn't deception, it's alignment. The body is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. When mind, emotion, and action align, the field organizes itself, and manifestation happens as a natural consequence. It's easy to imagine love. What's hard is living it while still carrying the fear of rejection. It's simple to visualize abundance, but holding the vibration of trust when the bills arrive, that's another story. There's a fundamental difference between projecting an image and embodying a vibration. Many confuse the two. They believe that imagining something is enough to create it. But the universe responds to the frequency you emit, not the image you project. And that frequency comes from who you've become, how you breathe, choose, feel, even when no one is watching. To embody a vibration means letting the body recognize a new state as real. It's when there's no longer effort in visualizing because your field already vibrates as if it exists. The image is no longer a goal, it becomes presence. This can't be forced, it must be built. Joe Dispenza teaches, true creation happens when mind and emotion align. This requires practice, repetition, and daily choices that say, this is already true for me. To visualize love but act out of fear is incoherence, but cultivating simple acts of kindness, strength, and gratitude aligns the field. You don't just visualize love, you become love. And when that happens, the field responds. To embody is not to pretend, it's to live as if it were already real. It's a state of coherence between body, mind, and energy. And at that point, manifestation isn't effort, it's reflection. The universe mirrors back what you consistently hold as vibrational truth. This process demands consistency, presence, and honesty. It reveals itself in the small things, in how you receive a compliment, in the courage to remain vulnerable. To embody is to live as if, not pretending, but allowing the body to express what the soul already knows. And everything that is real in the field, sooner or later, becomes matter. After you visualize the life you desire, something essential needs to happen: a pause. It's not time to rush into the next task. It's time to let the image drop from the mind and touch the body. Visualization is only half the journey. The other half is grounding, turning the invisible into something felt now. Without this, the image remains a beautiful dream, suspended without roots in reality. This is where a powerful question arises. What is the smallest action I can take today to move closer to what I just visualized? That question brings you into coherence, into real movement. Maybe you visualized inner peace. That action might be a conscious breath, a firm no, or a quiet pause with your hand over your heart. Maybe you envisioned abundance. That action could be accepting a compliment, valuing your time, or making more intentional choices. What matters isn't the size of the gesture, it's the truth it carries. The quantum field responds to sustained vibration, not momentary intensity. Vibrating love before the relationship, abundance before the money, freedom even in the midst of limitations. That is vibrational grounding. Bruce Lipton reminds us, behaviors shape our energetic field. Every action aligned with your visualization shifts your vibrational signature. It's your body telling the universe, I'm ready. That readiness can be subtle in how you sit, how you dress, how you treat yourself. The body knows when you're just rehearsing and when you've begun to live what you desire. So after you visualize, stay, breathe, ask yourself, what would it feel like to live just a piece of this today in an act, with awareness, with truth? This is how visualization becomes vibration, and vibration becomes reality. Visualization intensely activates the brain. When paired with emotion, it releases dopamine, the same pleasure as a real experience. That's why visualization can feel so comforting. But here lies a risk, becoming addicted to the simulation and forgetting about the actual embodiment. It's like a vibrational orgasm without energetic conception, pleasure without real movement. You visualize an ideal life, feel relief, but return to your routine without any vibrational action to sustain that image. So you visualize again and again, and it becomes a cycle of compensation. Visualization, which should be a bridge, becomes a crutch, an emotional escape from action. The body gets used to the chemical high and craves more. What once was spirituality turns into disguised stagnation. Joe Vitale says, "You attract what you believe is possible, not what you passively wish for." Wishing without action, without grounding, is vibrating scarcity. It's saying, "I want it, but I don't believe it," and that vibration repels. This cycle is quiet, dressed in beautiful phrases, "I'm aligning, I'm trusting the universe." But underneath, it hides rigidity, stagnation, and it takes courage to see it. The solution isn't to abandon visualization, it's to restore its true purpose, to be the trigger of vibration, not its final destination. Visualization should open the path, but you are the one who walks it. If you visualize success, ask, "Do my habits support this?" If you visualize peace, question, "Am I caring for my nervous system?" If you visualize love, feel, "Am I offering myself what I desire from others?" The brain changes through consistency, not occasional intensity. The field does too, so turn visualization into a cultivated state. Feel it, repeat it, sustain it. Practice. After visualizing, write down one micro-action that aligns with it, and repeat. Let the image become movement, let the dream take form. Only then is the cycle of creation complete. There's a comforting belief that simply visualizing intensely is enough to attract what you desire. Visualization is important, but it's not enough. The universe doesn't respond only to what you see. It responds to what you vibrate with your body, what you repeat with energy, and what you practice in the invisible moments of your routine. You don't attract what you visualize. You attract what you live as if it were already real. The quantum field, as Greg Braden says, doesn't read desires. It reads patterns. And patterns are born from repetition, consistent emotions, recurring thoughts, habitual gestures. Visualization is the rehearsal. Vibrational practice is the performance the universe watches. It's no use to imagine yourself confident, then lower your eyes when you walk out the door. To visualize abundance and then sabotage opportunities. To desire love and pull away from affection. The field responds to the gesture, not the intention. This isn't punishment, it's vibrational precision. Vibrational practice happens in silence, in your thoughts upon waking, in your emotions during challenges, in how you treat yourself. It's your energetic signature, and the universe responds to that. Co-creation isn't about doing more, it's about being. Being is vibrational quality, presence, and subtle truth in small choices. The most powerful question isn't, what do I want to visualize, but what am I energetically practicing? What feelings do you nurture? What thoughts do you repeat? What habits are supporting or sabotaging your reality? Manifestation is born from the sum of all coherence. Thinking, feeling, speaking, acting. When there is alignment, the field responds. When there is misalignment, it becomes confused. Choose one area of life you wish to manifest. Identify the behaviors that would support that reality. Start with the smallest possible action and repeat, every day, with presence. Visualization is dreaming the path. Vibrational practice is walking it, and the universe responds to what is lived, not just what is dreamed. Imagine that everything you desire, lightness, peace, connection, abundance, is on the other side of a river. On one side, there's you. On the other, your dream. In between, emptiness. No bridge, no road. Just space. It's in that space where many give up. The desire is clear, the emotion has been felt, but there's no path. Frustration arises. But the bridge was never meant to be ready-made. It's not sent by the universe. It is built through daily vibrational decisions. Every aligned gesture, every realigned thought, every emotion embraced is a brick. A silent yes that, added to others, builds the crossing. And that crossing is made of consistency and presence. Many visualize intensely but wait for the miracle, the quantum leap. But manifestation is almost always a crossing, not a jump. And what makes the crossing possible is the small, aligned action, even in silence. Someone who dreams of speaking freely, yet keeps staying silent, is not building the bridge. But when they begin to speak up, even just a little, the bridge begins to appear. It is coherent action that builds it. The universe doesn't respond to urgency. It responds to coherence. It doesn't matter how long it takes. What matters is sustaining, day after day, what you've visualized. Manifestation isn't a moment of intensity, it's vibrational consistency. It's living today as someone who already knows where they're headed. Even without seeing the end, even without guarantees, you don't need to cross the entire river. You only need to lay the next brick, the next aligned gesture, the next quiet yes to yourself. And in this way, the bridge is built. Visualization is the map, but it's your energetic steps that make the path real. The dream is there, and it doesn't demand urgency. It only asks that you say with truth, I keep going. Maybe you carry a subtle feeling, invisible to others but heavy inside, the sense that you're doing everything right and yet nothing is happening. You visualize, affirm, believe, but something inside you remains empty, silent. And the doubt arises, is the life I dream of truly possible for me? This is where the journey begins. Not with the image, but with the embodied vibration. It's not about how much you dream, it's about how much you can sustain vibrationally what you dream. To sustain is more than repeating phrases. It's becoming the energetic environment that can hold what you wish to manifest. Bruce Lipton says, the internal environment shapes biology. Your emotions, habits, and thoughts. All of it forms the soil where your reality takes root. If that soil is still vibrating with fear, rigidity, or old patterns, no seed will bloom. Not because of fault, but because manifestation requires coherence. Greg Braden adds, feeling is the prayer. What you feel as truth alters the field. It's not enough to imagine. You must feel as someone who inhabits this new state, as someone who breathes this new frequency. Visualization is a seed, and seeds need fertile soil, time, light, and shadow. Real emotion, not manufactured. Faith with action. Feeling with practice. Change begins when you move out of the realm of images and into the realm of vibrational action. The question shifts from why haven't I manifested yet to how can I live right now in vibrational alignment with what I desire? Maybe it starts with a dance, a gentle gesture, a firm no, a new breath, more present. You don't need to pretend you already have it. You just need to live as someone who's already becoming. The invisible becomes visible when vibration becomes consistent, not as a sudden miracle, but as a natural consequence. You are one vibration away from what you desire, and that vibration can begin now. The universe doesn't need you to visualize more. It needs you to live with more truth.